holding you back from touching the sky? What's holding you back? You gotta fly like an eagle and go high. What's holding you back from touching the sky? Oh, holding you back, you finally gotta reach for the sky. I was born to succeed, not to be a spoke in the wheel. Told myself there's more to this than just waking up when I feel. So I made a commitment to turn my earnings up. Couldn't see myself as an employee that still couldn't. Looked in the mirror, saw a spark in my eye. Knew I had to hustle and stop living a lie. I packed my dreams in a suitcase, took the first train out, headed for the horizon with success is no doubt.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of What's Holding You Back. My name is Rob McCray from the Business Building Network, and I am so excited to be with you this evening as we come before you with another edition of What's Holding You Back. And we have a very special guest in store for you this evening. So stay tuned as we're going to be talking about our topic for today, which is, do you have mind control, or is someone else controlling your mind? And our guest is going to help us in breaching that topic of discussion for this evening. So as you can see, unfortunately, my wonderful co-host, Christine Allen from Clear Ambitions, will not be with us this evening, but she sends her love and she will be sure to join us on the next edition. But we're going to have a wonderful time nevertheless, as we're going to do a brief recap on the broadcast that we had last week. And wow, if you missed the broadcast last week, I must tell you, you have to go back and watch it. We had a wonderful time as we talked about those individuals who we should not be inviting to the cookout. And yeah, we just had a good time, had some good laughs. So if you're ever feeling down and you need a quick picker me up, that is definitely the video that you want to watch. We had an amazing time and just reminiscing about our childhood days and even current days, and some of those individuals that we make sure that we don't want to have around for certain events. So please go back and watch that if you missed that broadcast from last week. So as you're jumping on board, please leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you, acknowledge you, and welcome you to another edition of What's Holding You Back. We have Sister Sharon Morrison. Greetings, and thank you so much for joining us. So glad to have you with us. So please drop us a comment. We would love to acknowledge you and welcome you to the broadcast. So let's get into our discussion for today. But before we do that, we always like to start off by having a little word of inspiration. And going along with the theme for today, we're going to share this word here. And it states, the mind, let me just move this out the way. Okay. The mind is a powerful force. It can enslave us or empower us. It can plunge us into the depths of misery or take us to the heights of ecstasy. Learn to use the power wisely. And this is such a profound quote, because when we talk about the power of the mind, and the Bible states that the tongue is the most powerful weapon. But the words that come off of the tip of your tongue are professed by the thoughts that come from what? From your mind. So that all of that power is coming from that mind upstairs and that inner belief within ourselves in the God that is dwelling within us. So that is why it is so important that we be very careful about the information that we consume and let into our ear gates and our eye gates, because this will program our mind and cause us to respond relevant to the information in which we are receiving. So be very, very careful about the information in which you choose to receive within yourself. All right, so we have a couple more guests tuning in. We have my brother Tariq. God bless you, sir. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. And we also have Gerald Jones. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us here on another edition of What's Holding You Back. So, without any further ado, let us bring on our guest for this evening. And our guest is no other than Chelsea Sellars-Wilson, and she is the one of the program directors for Hope Enterprises. As one of our previous guests was Dr. Tahira Lee, so she is definitely from that branch, and we would like to welcome her to the broadcast this evening. Good evening, my sis. How are you?
Hello, hello. How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Excellent, excellent. So good to have you with us this evening.
Likewise, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Hello to everyone who's out there watching. Hope you guys be able to grab something from this.
That is the intent. Yes, most definitely. We always like to encourage and inspire our listeners and our viewers so they can take away something from each and every broadcast that we have. And we come before you every Wednesday right here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Rob McCray Networking YouTube channel, and also my co-host YouTube channel, which is Clear Ambitions. So we invite you all to come on back and join us and be a part of the discussion. So, my sis, let us start off with you. So if you can go back a little bit, we can get more familiar with you for our audience members that do not know or who are unfamiliar with who you are. If you can go back into your childhood days and tell us about your upbringing and what the family structure looked like for you.
For sure, for sure. So kind of scaling back, let's get nostalgic for a second and have some flashbacks to my adolescent years. Came from a very loving family. I am an only child, so things were lonely at certain times in life, and things also were very independent for me. Not because they had to be, I was choosing for that to be the case. People looked at me as like a goody two shoes. She has everything that she wants, nothing, she doesn't need for anything. And
Right.
that may have been true. On the other hand, again, people have to remember that my parents, by me being an only child, I was their very first one, right? And so when everyone becomes a parent, I don't have any experience with that. But what I would assume is that, you're trying to figure things out,
Right.
you don't have all of the answers. You're going to make mistakes and things of that nature. So, there were some mistakes that were made within my household, or, they were doing the best that they could with what they had, right? So, with that being said, my parents were super strict. I was the girl on top of being the only child, right?
Mhm.
So there were some things that they would not allow me to do that I wanted to do. And there were some things that I didn't want to do and they wanted me to do it, right? So I didn't
Right.
have a sibling to go to and say like, well, did mom and dad do this? Or did they say this to you? Or my mom and dad didn't have another child to go off of to say, okay, well, we saw what we did with the first one. Now the second one, we can do things differently. So it was still some challenges there. But above all, I did take some characteristics from my father and my mother coming from how to carry yourself, be professional, project your voice, things and so off. And my father being, how to save a dollar, not being frivolous with your money and things of so in that nature. So I did learn from them. But at the same time, again, things weren't as smooth as what people thought from the outside looking in.
Yeah, I totally get that. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's give a couple more shout outs. We have Sister Destiny. Good evening, and thank you for joining us here on the broadcast. We also have my brother Todd Hatchett from Godware Inspirational Communications. Blessings, my brother. I'm sure your wife is with you, so God bless you both, and good to have you on the broadcast this evening. We also have Jalen Jones. Good evening. Glad to have you with us. We have Dawn Moore. Greetings. Bless you. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have, I believe that's our very own Dr. Lee from Yes Hope Enterprises. So good to see you, Dr. Lee. And looking forward to having you back on sometime soon. So book a slot on your schedule for me. I know you have a very busy schedule, but try to save us a date in which you can come on and be a part of the broadcast one more time. All right. And we have last, but we saved the best for last, my very own pastor, Pastor Fred Pinnock. God bless you, sir. So good to have you with us. And yes, in case you are just joining us, oh, we have my sis from Bold Nutrition's sister Yvette Bolden. Blessing, sis. So good to have you with us as well. Yeah, so the topic of the discussion for today, we are talking about having the power of the mind and making sure that you're not being controlled by someone else, but you are in control of your own situations. So Chelsea was just giving us a little background about her childhood and coming up and being an only child. So, in being the only child, who is that go-to person for you to seek advice and in which you can find comfort in with just trying to figure things out for yourself?
Um, it really started with just reading books, honestly. Not saying that, I couldn't go to my parents or couldn't go to my grandparents and things of that nature. But they thought differently.
Mm-hmm.
They moved differently, right? And again, I was very independent.
Okay.
And I needed information that was going to keep me independent versus kind of dependent. And doing the traditional lifestyle of, go to school, get a degree, get a job, make sure that job is, enough to pay the bills. And you just wake up and you're in that cycle over and over again until you're 40 or 65 or whatever that may be. So it started really with just reading books. And I would say the first thing I wanted to do was to make my own money, learn how to make my own money. And I made some mistakes, figuring out that path.
We all do.
But that's really what kind of molded me there, because once I figured out how to make my own money, whether it was a lot or a little bit, regardless of the fact, I knew that I didn't have to wait on someone else to feed me the fish, right? Once I learned how to fish, I could go get it myself.
There you go. Beautiful. All right. So did you go to college at all?
No, so I went to early college. So that was high school with college courses involved. So that was a 5-year program. And once I graduated, I really was kind of burnt out a little bit. And also through my senior year of the program, I was, again, burnt out, making some mistakes. I was really in the fitting in type of phase of my life where, I cared about what people thought of me, right? Versus, who I really was. So that's that character and reputation kind of toiling at each other there. But yeah, I had kind of made some mistakes there and was kind of too late when it came to applying for different things. So that is where really the military kind of came about right after high school. But I do have college credits, I guess, very similar to sophomore or junior. Just did not finish that last year to finish out the degree.
All right. So let's talk about your military endeavors. So right after high school, you went into the military?
Yes.
All right. So what made you decide that you wanted to pursue that type of career?
Yep. So I was just on the wrong path. Like I said, I was trying to fit in. I cared more about reputation than character. Remember, reputation is who they think you are. Character is who you really are. So I had kind of missed the deadline for applying for different things when it came to college, all that process that you go through, college applications, FAFSA, everything that you need that kind of prepares you for college. I was letting it kind of fall to the back to where that deadline was here, and I'm having to scram to do things. So I said, I graduate college. What can I do that will pay for school when I'm ready to go back? And also, give me benefits along the way that, I'm kind of not saying taken care of through life, but I have resources to turn to throughout life. And that is when the Air Force became a thing. I didn't think Army, I didn't think Marines, I didn't think Navy. It literally Air Force is what fell on my heart. And from there, I kind of ran it by my parents, and they were like, it's a hard no, definitely not. And me being independent, I still went behind their backs to the recruiting office, got all the information I needed, all the way down to me swearing in, doing my oath by myself. I did my oath by myself because I'm like, I'm going to do this thing, and I can't have anybody altering, my decision. I think this is the best. And that's how that came about.
Wow. Right. Yeah, that was a very bold decision, and I'm sure your parents were none too pleased.
Yeah, they, it was really not much they can do, but I had to get them to understand, like, hey, I'm not going full time. I'm not trying to be on the front line when it comes to war. Like, it's not going to be that harsh is what you're thinking. So.
Well, you really don't have no choice in that matter.
No.
All right. So you started your military career in the Air Force. So when did you start getting into your business career? You wanted to create a business for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So through some of the mistakes that I made when learning how to make money for myself, that kind of already put me in business mode, right? Okay. Because I'm having to do X, Y, and Z to make ABC, right? And from there, I've always been a reservist. So let's just get that straight. I'm Air Force Reserves, not active duty. Okay. So with that being said, I'm only required to report once a month. So what am I doing the rest of my time? I did have a 9-to-5. I was selling Audis. Now, me selling Audis was a transition legally from what I was doing before that. And that right there, once I sold 6 cars in a day, I was like, okay, I like this lifestyle here.
In a day?
On my first day.
No way.
First day, 6 cars that day. Yeah, it was definitely set a record for coming in. And I was like, okay, I see what this is, but I'm spending a lot of time here. Like, I'm tired. Yes. I wake up, I have energy. And by the time lunchtime comes at work, I'm kind of drained and I'm over it for the day. I go home, get rest, and do it all over again. And I did not like that cycle. And I knew that I wanted to speak. I knew I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be a keynote speaker. So what I first did was took the money that I was making from Audi and hired me a mentor. It's number one. So if you guys are not taking notes, you should take some type of notes here through this, because I'm going to give you step-by-step kind of what I did. But I hired me a mentor who specialized in speaking. So number one, you have to pay attention to who you listen to, right? Listen to people who have the results that you want, or they look like they're going in the way that you would like to go. So did that. And then I decided, as I got that information of learning how to formulate my keynote speech and get that together, I said, I need to put myself on a money challenge where I save a certain amount of money by a certain time. So that way I can turn in my 2 weeks here and I can start by myself. So that's literally how that went. Got to Audi, started selling cars. Things were great. Bought my own car, realized that, hey, I want to do something more. Took the extra money, hired myself a mentor. And then from there, I was always just in webinars. I'm always listening to people, seeing what they're doing, how to start a business, put myself on that money challenge, saved up that money, put in my 2 weeks. And that was it for me.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was 2016. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Love that. All right. So where did that inner drive come from? Where did that tenacity come from? Like, I'm going to make this happen.
I really just wanted to do it, like say that I could do it. I can do this. Because my parents, although they admired that I was independent, they hated it because they was like, Chelsea, slow down a bit. Like, we got you. You don't have to rush. And I wish I had listened to that, because I was very impulsive as well when I started business, because I was trying to hit it quick. Right. I was trying to get there fast. Versus going slow and steady and still taking my time and being aware of where I'm putting my money at and investing in and so on and so forth. But I think that drive just really kind of came from within. Like, you cannot teach someone how to be hungry. They just have to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow. Okay. All right. So would you say there was a certain point in time in your life where you had to go through more of a mental transformation as to being more disciplined in your actions and not being so impulsive?
Yes. So once I was, the impulse was sending me to a brick wall. I'd be impulsive, do something, ready to go, and things would go fine. But then I hit a brick wall because I was missing some of those fundamentals. I was missing some of those tools, and those fundamentals. It's really four of them. I gave you the first one of paying attention to who you listen to. The next one that comes is your coachability index. How teachable are you? How coachable are you? Right? You have to always be a student. Be a student of your own profession, as always, right? And that part was happening. And then that next part, it is then the training balance scale. So one hand, you have like your why, that's your drive, your dreams, your thoughts. The other hand, you then have the how, the techniques, the methods, the tools, right? And a lot of times people think, well, it's 99% the how and 1% of the why, that's that spiritual. And really it's the opposite. It's really 99% spiritual and 1% physical, because once your attitude is right, the facts don't count. That stuff is going to follow. The how will come into play. You have to know why you're doing something. You have to have that drive. And lastly, it is the 4 steps that the mind goes through when processing information. You're going to be unconscious incompetent, meaning you just don't know what you don't know. Right. Then you're going to be unconscious competent, meaning now you are aware of what you do not know. You know you don't know how to do something. Then it goes to the next one of conscious competence, right? So at this point, you know that you don't know how to do something. Now you're trying to figure out how to do it. You're learning. You have to think about it. You know the steps, but when you do it, it's not like second nature. It's not like when you get in your car, turn the ignition and go, right? You have to think about it first. Check the mirrors, make sure the seatbelt is on, everything's in place, right? And then lastly, this is the last step that you want to get to, and that is when you're consciously competent. We're unconsciously competent. It's like a robot. You're just doing it robotically. It's doing it without even thinking about it. And with those four fundamentals, who do you listen to? Teachability index, training balance scale, and then the 4 steps the mind goes through in processing information. You have to have all of those under your belt and be consciously aware of those for you to flow. So you're not being so impulsive, right? Because a lot of the times people think, well, my next goal is to make a certain amount of money. No, your next goal is to first get you a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, that's your first one right there, right? If you're trying to make a certain amount of money, you need to be listening to somebody to tell you what to do, right? So when people go and hire people, they shouldn't be hiring them to tell them what to do. The person needs to be telling them what to do, right? Absolutely. So that I did have to go through a mental transformation versus that physical, because physically I was being impulsive because I see the vision that I have and I'm trying to get there overnight, or I'm trying to get there by the end of the month, right? But mentally I had to realize that it does take time, right? This is a plant that you are having to nourish, water, take care of. It's a seed, right, that you need to sprout. So,
wow, awesome. Family, I hope that you got that information and you are taking notes. As Chelsea said, it is very important. And the most important thing that I want to share with you, in which she already said, you have to get a coach, a mentor, someone that's going to be able to guide you and point you in the right direction. Let it be known what it is that you want to do, and let them lead you and guide you. They're going to help you and speed up the process. They're going to help you to ensure that you're not making some of those mistakes, as if you will, when you're trying to do it all on your own. That's what your coach and your mentor is for. You're going to say, no, don't do it this way. Go around here and do it that way. That's going to help you and save you so much time and money and speed up the process and help you get to where you want to be. So Chelsea, let me ask you now, with your transformational coaching programs, what would you say are some of the biggest roadblocks that you see with your clients?
The completion, like
Mhm.
start and won't finish,
Right, right.
or the way my programs go, I actually hold you accountable throughout the whole program. So you're going to finish. It's just after you're finished, then what? What are you going to do? How are you going to continue doing that? Right?
Right.
You've got to do the hard stuff, the thinking, the stuff that gets you focused, where you have to shut off your phone and get into whether that is your prayer closet or just get somewhere where it's no distractions. That's where it's usually the biggest roadblock there, because again, with my programs, I hold you accountable all the way through. But just say, for instance, I didn't, right there. I do have at least one program where it's kind of a self-paced thing. I have even fallen victim to signing up for a program or a course and did not finish, right?
Mhm.
So that's the biggest thing, is not finishing. You get going, it starts off, but one thing character is, I told you guys, character is really who you are, but also character is being able to follow through with something long after the excitement and that emotion is there in the moment.
Wow.
So you have to keep going. Once you've gotten excited and yes, I'm going to do it, and oh my gosh, I'm ready to go, and this is good. I cannot wait to see how I change and how much money I make, blase, right? But are you going to finish? Right?
Yes.
Are you going to keep going? Or when it gets boring, when it seems like it's repetitive, rhetorical, like, are you going to keep going there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, that is so good. So good. And yes, I shared Chelsea's contact information there in the comments. Please let me know if you are seeing it. You can visit her link tree for Eminence Guru, and you can see her different websites and contact information. You can reach out to her and be a part of what she's doing. These are some great tips in which she is sharing, and I'm quite sure that she is a wonderful coach and instructor that will help you reach your ambitions and your goals in which you have in life. So, Chelsea, what were some of the biggest obstacles and challenges you faced when you first started out with your business?
So, and some things I'm going to say, I'm going to repeat. And you're going to be like, Chelsea, you just said it. I already heard it.
That's fine.
That's the point. The first thing was, I know I said pay attention to who you listen to, but that's one of my obstacles that I had to face, was I wasn't paying attention who I was listening to.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is I was going for the people who had the glitz, the glamour, right? They had the chains, or they looked like they were showing off certain cars and money and things like that. And in all actuality, they didn't have it together, right? The money that they made was off of selling things to people, where they said that, oh, I was able to take $10 to $5,000 in 30 days, buy my course, right? And well, yeah, if 100 people buy your course, for $1, yes, you did make $100 off of nothing, right? Or if 100 people bought your course for $10 or for $20 or whatever that may be, $100 times 20 times 50 times 100, yes, you just made that money. Of
Mhm.
course, that's what happens. People buy and you're going to make that money, and that's your profits. But did you actually get in the mud and do it, right? Did you get in the mud and do it? See, for me, who I started paying attention to were people who were creating results for others.
Yes.
And once I learned how to duplicate myself and take information and teach someone else, and they get results as well. There's times where when I was trading heavily, I was in the trading world, and I was doing multi-level marketing with that. I was able to teach 6 people how to make 6 figures. And I taught more than that, but when I say how to make it, those are the people, those 6 actually did make it. And that year, I did not make 6 figures that year. And here's why. Because I took time, I stepped away from me thinking about the money, and I stepped into service, right?
Wow.
So, integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. That's our core values within the Air Force right there.
Yeah.
And the service before self is the main core value that I do take advantage of. Of course, integrity first and excellence in all we do. But when I am able to serve, right, I have to have integrity. I cannot teach someone or give someone information that I have not done, right? I cannot. That's why none of my courses say, get this program to make $100,000, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give somebody the information on that. Say for trading, for instance, right? I'm not going to sell a course on making $100,000 for a year when I have not done that.
Okay.
Right. So with that being said, the biggest thing was, again, not paying attention to who I was listening to. I had to be very selective with that. My ears were open, but they were not selective. I was being impulsive, trying to reach an ultimate goal very quickly. And I realized I had to become selective. I had to slow down, right? And I had to increase my personal development. So, and that happened through my daily schedule, my daily tasks, things of that nature. But I would just say, that was one of my biggest ones. Was I was just trying to sign up for anybody's course who said any certain amount of money, not knowing that, the mentor I now follow and I've had for the past 4 years, he says nothing about, buy this, I've made this amount of money, or buy this, or you will make this amount of money. It's not like that. And he's made lots of money, but he does not have to talk about it in order for it to show.
That's it. That's the key right there. They don't have to talk about it. The proof is going to speak for itself.
Right.
So when you hear all of these so-called gurus going out and making these big pitch sales to you to be a part of their programs and buy the different products and services, most of the time they're not living up to the hype and what they're talking about. So you have to be very leery, do your homework, do your diligence, research them on online, and see what they're truly all about. See what other people are saying about them. See what their reviews are saying. And then you will have a better idea about their credibility and what they can really bring to the table.
Right.
So yes, Chelsea, that was excellent. Love that. Love that. All right. So you discussed some of the challenges. So when you had to go through these challenges and these roadblocks, so to speak, how were you able to overcome them?
So it was really through personal development. I had to increase my personal development heavy. One thing for sure with these gurus out here, or people who are flashing, all the glitz and the glamour, you see their attitude when they have all of that, but you got to check their attitude when they don't have any of that and see how they move, right? Yeah. And that is why you have to pay attention to who you listen to, because half of those people, you'll know when they're going through something because you'll see it, right? You'll hear it. It'll be what's going. It'll look like desperation, things of that nature. It takes a very mentally strong person to be up and push through another day when the account is at zero, right? When there's no leads, when there haven't been business in months, right? I'm not saying that, that's where you should be or that's where you want to be. But again, you've got to check that attitude, because you'll see how someone acts when they have everything in the world, and you'll also see how they act and they move when they don't have anything. And the people who know how to keep their head up, keep their spirits high, are in tune with their spiritual, talking to God, whoever it is that they, you guys believe in, right? I'm going to say God. That right there will tell you a lot, right? It does take a lot to wake up the next day and push through when no one's calling you back, no one's emailing you back, right? Those are times where you get discouraged to say, like, well, dang, is this working out for me? I've called this many people and nobody wants to sign up with me, or nobody wants to buy my course, or nobody wants to hire me to speak on stage, right? You have got to, keep it up. You've got to keep it up, and it being your mindset, right? Your actions throughout the day. So my personal development routine is very, very thorough. And if you guys want to take this down, I definitely recommend you giving this a try or challenging yourself with this. But this personal development routine, I used to call it a morning routine. This is how I started my day. I took an hour and a half when I first got up, didn't touch my phone, and I went through these steps here. So the first one, I would go through a breathing technique. All right. I go through a breathing technique for about 10 minutes. Then afterwards, I would tap. Tapping is you're tapping on certain points within the body, and that's releasing blockages there. Okay. Negative blockages. Then from there, I get into my I am affirmations. I'm just listening to some affirmations, repeating them back, speaking them out loud as I'm walking around. And then I'll get into my goal. I'm writing out my goal. What's my ultimate goal right now? That ultimate goal is the goal that you have no clue how you're going to hit it, how you're going to achieve it, but you know without a doubt it's going to get done. You don't know when, you don't know how, but you know it's going to get done. You can see it, you can smell it, you can feel it. It's going to get done. Right? So I write that goal out, I fill up the page. Then after, right, I then visualize what I just wrote. So I go through a guided visualization. Somebody can talk me through it and I'll listen and I'll just envision my goals, right? I get the ideal scene for myself. Then after that, I read about 10 pages. I'll say 10 pages or 30 minutes, whichever one comes first. Okay. From there, I listen to a personal development audio, at least 30 minutes. Okay, at least 30 minutes, personal development audio. It can be different ones, but I take 30 minutes to listen, right? And then, of course, in the midst of this, I'm expressing gratitude. That is the personal development routine. Now, I just gave you guys a list of things, probably 7 to 8, maybe 10 different things to do. And somebody might say, this is too much, this is too hard. And that is exactly why you're still staying in the place that you're in.
Come on.
Right? So, personal development routine, or even I do 10 wins a day. So 10 wins a day might be a kneeled prayer. I went to the gym. I read. I listened to some audio. I drank, a certain amount of bottles of water each day. Maybe I did no alcohol that day, no wine, no liquor, anything like that. That's a win for me right there, right? Because that stuff can be distracting, right? What else? Studying, maybe creating some content, something of that nature. 10 wins a day. Personal development routine. When you don't feel like it, use this as something to look forward to.
That's right. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Wow. Love it, sis. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, there you have it. The daily habits, steps, techniques that we need to incorporate into our daily lifestyle to ensure we can reach and achieve our goals and maximize our potential. So yes, thank you so much for sharing all of that information with us. And if someone would like to get in contact with you to get more information about the courses in which you offer, what is the best link they can connect with you
They
at?
can use my virtual card, because the virtual card, not only does it show my partnership with Hope Enterprises, shout out to Dr. Tahira Lee and Tariq Lee for that beautiful partnership there, but it also shows my additional information, or they can use my link tree. Either or will be great. When it comes to my programs and courses, I do tailor, although these are already written out and they're created, they are tailored to the individual itself, right? So I like to do a consultation with you. That's totally free. I don't charge for any consultations or anything like that. It's when we kind of put the pen to pad, the foot to the gas, pedal to the metal, however you want to say it, is when the price comes involved. But again, it's tailored completely to you. I hold you accountable throughout the entire time. So I definitely say check it out. And I'm not saying it just because it's me. I say check it out just because these are some powerful techniques that really shift my paradigm. It's usually when you don't feel like it, people don't move, right? Usually their feelings are bad, so they don't usually move. They stay stagnant, and then they're upset with their results. And not knowing that you're forgetting a step is your thoughts. Your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings dictate your actions, and then your actions will provide the results, right? But you cannot start with the feelings. You cannot start the results. You have to start with the thoughts.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So yes, there you can see at the bottom of the screen, Chelsea's link tree. So it's all also should be in the comment section there. You can just click on that, go over to her link tree, and get in contact with her, and she can give you all the resources in which you need to ensure that you are getting the best possible results within your business and your own personal development, because your personal development is something that I'm sure Sister Chelsea would tell you that it doesn't stop. We have to continue to grow and evolve on a daily basis. And the different things in which you incorporate into your lifestyle, those daily habits in which you are starting to implement, will certainly identify and propel you to greatness. So it's those actions in which you take on a daily basis are what you're going to start to manifest in your life. So make sure you're going in the right direction. So Chelsea, you have any closing words before we close out this evening?
Listen, guys, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Rob, for having me today. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. I definitely saw some familiar names come across of who I sent this link to personally, or whether it came from my social media. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. One thing I will definitely say is exactly what Rob said. Invest that time into personal development. That right there will take you a lot further than just trying to worry about where the next dollar is going to come from. Once your mental is right, your spirit is right, your soul, okay, you'll be able to conquer anything. You'll be able to take on a lot, all right? I know that money is a big part of day-to-day actions when it comes to, eating, living, things of that nature, survival, right? You need money, yes. But outside of that, know that money is an illusion. And if you get you right first, if you become valuable, all right, that is where the dollar will increase for you. Become valuable to the marketplace. Remember, we don't get paid for time, all right? We don't get paid for time. We get paid for value. How valuable are you to the marketplace? And you have to work harder on yourself than you do on the job, on the project, on the task, all right? Because if you do not, that project, that job, that task, whatever it may be, will fall short just as much as you are falling short. So get you right first. And definitely, if you want to chat with me more, figure out some more information for yourself, or maybe you have some things that you would like to change or just increase or add to your daily routine, reach out to me. I would love to meet you, would love to talk with you. And in the meantime, remember to see the future, create your world, unleash your power, and most of all, claim your blessings. Thank you, guys.
Amen. Amen. Love it. Love it. Love it, sis. So please, Chelsea, stay on board with us as we close out. I want to talk to you for a few more minutes in the backstage there. But we're going to close off for this particular segment here of What's Holding You Back. We just want to thank each and every one of you. Blessings, Dr. Lee. So good to see you. Yes, definitely. Definitely. All right. Awesome. So yes, on behalf of Chelsea Sellars-Wilson, my name is Rob McCray from the Business Building Network. And of course, my wonderful co-host, Christine Allen from Clear Ambitions. We thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast this evening. And we look forward to seeing you next week at this time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here for another edition of What's Holding You Back. Take care.
You back from touching the sky, or holding you back. You finally gotta reach for the sky. I was born to succeed, not to be a spoke in the wheel. Told myself there's more to this than just waking up when I feel. So I made a commitment to turn my earnings up. Couldn't see myself as an employee that still couldn't. Looked in the mirror, saw a spark in my eye. Knew I had to hustle and stop living a lie. I packed my dreams in a suitcase, took the first train out, headed for the horizon with success is no doubt. What's holding you back? Holding you back from touching the sky. What's holding you back? You gotta fly like an eagle and go high. What's holding you back? Holding you back from touching the sky. Oh, holding you back. You finally gotta reach for the sky.